How's it going?
You got one more day in isolation. Been in this room for 6 days.
It must be a nightmare.
Do you know that truthfully, I actually quite enjoyed it this time.
Bit of your own time.
Yeah, just my own time and getting organised for the World Cup, and it's going to get busy, obviously. So it's been, it seems it's a bit like facing fast bowling, right? It's always worse the night before.
Yeah.
And you think it's rubbish. You think, oh, this is, but actually living. I mean, the last 5 days has actually gone pretty quick.
Have you been able to have a bit of prep in Australia, or has everyone been playing kind of other cricket?
It's been really hard, mate, because in Australia, because of COVID, we've hardly played any cricket. That's one of our biggest challenges, actually. We've got 2 practice games against New Zealand and India, but we've had no cricket. A lot of our guys have had no cricket. It's actually our biggest challenge, getting some match practice into the boys.
It's a hell of a group you're in as well, eh?
I mean, T20, they're all going to be tough. West Indies are a real dark horse. South Africa have been playing very good cricket. England are number 1 in the world. But then you go to the other side, India, Pakistan, like good teams. Yeah. Good teams, mate, in T20 cricket. So, yeah, it's a tough tournament.
Yeah. And Jael, listen, you guys have got good, you've got good World Cup experience and success. But what would be your focus through this preparation phase?
Getting all the boys together. That's going to be really important. You'll know this better than anyone, Gary, that one of the toughest things about international cricket is that we don't get together that often. So, and because of our lack of cricket this year, like we haven't played Test cricket since January, and then we come together with a different squad for Bangladesh and West Indies. So we actually haven't been together, and I think that's a really important part of any good team, that you come together and that camaraderie in that team is very important. I think the boys will be really excited to see each other again. Yeah, and we're all good mates. Like everyone's such good mates. I haven't seen Davey Warner or Steve Smith or Pat Cummins. I haven't seen them since January, and we're now in October.
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, it is. So, but they're all good mates. They've played a lot of cricket together. They can't wait to get back together. So that'll be one of our parts of preparation. Just that's okay. That's the world we live in now, right?
Yeah,
it's very different, and we just keep adapting. We keep staying creative, and when the boys are together, it's good fun.
I mean, I've been impressed with Josh Hazlewood. He's bowled well for Chennai.
Well, it's a huge irony about Big Josh. I mean, he's a world-class bowler, terrific bloke. The last ODI tournament, he wasn't selected, and that was a very, very tough selection for us, but he hadn't played any cricket. He'd come off a stress fracture in his back, hadn't played much. Do we pick him? Do we not pick him? And he missed that World Cup, and now he'll be so important for us. And the irony is he hasn't played any T20 cricket really, but he's played a lot. So now he's one of our first picked. And that's it's amazing how the game works, right?
Yeah. And I also think just how players develop, they can develop into good cricketers in different formats. Often they get labelled, don't they? Well, you can only be a test match bowler, or these guys, they're learning along the way, and they're improving their skills as they're going along. So that, to suddenly become a good bowler in another format's really possible.
I agree. And I think I've always said that the best players are able to adapt to all forms of the game, and the best teams actually. So therefore, and the reason they're the best players is because they've got great skills, they've got great temperaments, they've got great concentration. So then it's just about adapting their mindset to 20 overs or 50 overs or test match cricket. So, but the best players, the best teams adapt regardless of the length or the colour of the ball.
Yeah. And Jael, your relationship with Finchy, I mean, captain, coach, it's such an important relationship in cricket, especially in the short format. You guys complement each other well?
We're very different, but we do. And we've been together for 3 years now, which is, I really enjoy that. Same with Tim Payne in Test cricket. I couldn't agree more. I think your relationships with all your players, but certainly the coach and the captain is crucially important. My relationship with Finch is one that has evolved over time, but it's a good relationship. Yeah, it's a strong relationship, and we're getting better with time, actually. And that's, as you keep saying, that's very important. My view actually is that in T20 cricket, the captain's almost the most important person on the field. That's been my experience, is that you can have all the great players, but the captain and their decision-making and their temperament under pressure is crucial. That's why senior captains tend to make the best captains, because I actually think that in T20 cricket, and one thing we have got an advantage, we have a very experienced team. I've said for a long time that I think T20 cricket is as much about an old man's game than a young man's game, actually. Because there is a lot of pressure there, and you've got to be able to draw on your experiences, stay calm, and that's where the captain becomes so important.
You know, us as coaches, I think we play a massive role in the leadership decisions that are made. You know, I understand in the heat of battle, the captain, when I look at your squad, I mean, there are heaps of captains there. There's lots of experience in your squad, which you're going to be really happy with. But I think that relationship where you are providing information to Finchy that he needs to have to help him make the decisions that he needs to make on the field.
I think what I've learned is that, and that's why in the world of professionalism, where we have so many coaches and the ability to have analytics, you know, we got Rolls Royce analytics now, isn't it? But then it's one thing to have it, but then you've got to work through it and work out what's important. And what I'm finding is that the captains, well, they're all different personalities, but certainly in Finchy's case, he wants the gold nuggets.
Yeah.
He wants the analysts and the coaches to do the work and then give him the gold nuggets. You know, he's a cricket nuffy. He loves cricket. But then what that allows him to do, we give him the nuggets. He can sell it. He'll also talk to all the players, because we've got great experience. So you see players, and it's almost this great collaboration. Finchy can do it with the players. We'll do it with the coaches and the analysts, and then we'll come together. And before a game, the captain can be very clear what we think our best strategy is, and that's the exciting thing. I think you get those systems right, then that gives you the best chance of being successful.
But I mean, is he someone that wants to get all the intel that's available?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, he is. But then he's also he's very instinctive, and I find this really fascinating that often, when young captains come in or young players, they want to be instinctive.
Yeah.
But as players become great, I think they analyse, they know the opposition so much better, and they prepare that little bit extra that the young player doesn't. Because when you're young, you think, I'll just watch the ball, or I'll just go with my gut feeling. I think that the Finchy, he loves the information, but he doesn't want to sit through hours and hours of meetings. He wants in bite-sized pieces. Yeah. So then he can, and something I've learned, Gary, is that with planning, if you're really well planned, you can be really flexible.
I couldn't agree with you more.
But if you're not planned, it's like chaos.
I know.
You get planned, and then that's the easiest way to trust your gut feeling, I think, because you've got lots of information.
Simplicity after complexity is genius. Simplicity before complexity is ignorance. And it's such a great comment, isn't it? Yeah, you've got to put in the yards, put in the effort, understand what you need to do, take all the intel you need, and then with your skills become really simple in your plan. It's a great comment.
I think that might have been Steve Jobs. In fact, in my preparation analysis pack, that's there. It's a really good quote, and I agree. It's like at the end of, and I'm sure you could probably put it in 1 or 2 or 3 sentences, what made you a great batsman, right?
Yeah.
But and that's simple. And I can say, at the end of my career, all that mattered to me was get my head forward and see the ball out of the bowler's hand. And everyone goes, it can't be that simple. Well, it is that simple, but it took me 25 years to get to that point. Or it took me 1 year or 5 years of 10 years of stress and working through it to get to that point. So I couldn't, and I think as coaches, we have to do all the hard work. Otherwise, it is a bit chaotic. But if you do the hard work and you're well prepared, then you can help the players and the captains in this instance, but the players. And that's something I try and I remember learning from Costa Zoo, the great boxer. He was my favourite boxer, and I met him a couple of times. And he said when he was an amateur fighter, he would just go in and just fight because he didn't know who he was going to fight. But over time, what made him a great boxer, and he learned his ring craft, and he learned how to be tough, and he learned how to fight by being an amateur. But when he became a great professional, he used to study the opposition so closely. And that was the difference between an amateur and a professional, because he had time, he knew he was going to fight, and and I think that's what we're going to do as coaches. We do the hard yards, we prepare, and I think the best players do that. I think the best coaches do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but you don't have to delve into too much. Australia end up having a great tournament. You know, there's no guarantee to winning, but you end up having a great tournament. And things go pretty much according to how you would like them as a coach to have gone. What would you guys have done well?
We'd be well prepared. At the end of it, every single player played their role in the team.
Nice.
And I honestly believe, I think role clarity is crucial. And if all our players, because you can't win it. I mean, you can have some superstars, and we've got some, but ultimately you're going to win a World Cup. You can tell me, I haven't won one yet, but it's going to be based on, you know, everyone playing their role, right? So that's what it'll look like. Everyone's played their part in this World Cup, all 15 players. Yeah,
I really love that piece. I think that role clarity is often underestimated, number one. And then number two, you know, again, I look at your squad with a lot of experience. Everyone takes on the responsibility of making a contribution to the team at some point, isn't it? I found that with the Indian team is that, you know, we had I'll never forget the semi-final against Pakistan. We actually batted poorly, but our strength was our batting. And then suddenly Munaf Patel, who had quite a quiet tournament, stepped up as a bowler. And I think when you've got teams that can do that, it's amazing what you can achieve.
In my past role, when I was the coach of the Scorchers, where we had success, one of the only points I had on match day is turn up to be man of the match. If you're man of the match, it's good for you, but it's better for us.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset, I think.
And role clarity, Jael, so important in short format, because I mean, there's so many different roles that guys are playing, aren't there?
Absolutely, and that's in the field as well. Actually, you know, I think fielding's important in T20 cricket, and the athleticism these days is extraordinary, isn't it? Wow, it's so good to watch. So yeah, role clarity on the field. I think it's also role clarity within your coaching groups important as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nice and organised, and everyone knows what they're doing. And then if we get that right, the coaching group and the playing group, I think you give yourself the best chance of going well.
Head coach role of a national team, you're involved in a lot of different things. There's a lot of you're kind of all over the shop. How do you manage yourself through that space, or do you like to stick to the things that you are good at?
It's been an extraordinary learning experience for me, and I think that what you have to recognise, and I'm glad. Remember we went back before and said, "Oh yeah, just get your head forward and see the ball out of the bowler's hand." Right, but I had to go through a lot to get to that point. Same now as a coach. What's important? What is important is my people. Therefore, my relationships and performance. That's what's important. And what we tend to do is we get so caught up in so much other stuff, but it's actually you're getting outside your lane. You've got to, and that's where you've got to have other really good people around you to do that other stuff really well. And you've got to be able to let go of a lot of things. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point, because otherwise you're exhausted all the time. And if you're exhausted, you're not at your best. So I've learned that, and particularly through this COVID period, but I've learned that. And I just think recognize the key priorities, and then put most of your attention into that, and let your other good people do the other stuff. One thing I've always said, mate, is that I hope the last day I coach, I still see myself as a novice coach, because you're learning all the time. You are learning, and wow, and you've got to keep evolving to different teams and different environments. And that's really exciting. This is personally is a really exciting phase in my coaching journey, because it's I'm really looking forward to it, the new evolution.
You're a good man. Thanks for your time, Jael, and wish you guys well. I always look at it from a coaching perspective, so I understand what every coach is going through, but wish you well, and wish you you get the kind of rhythm that you're looking for in the team. So good luck in the tournament.
Thanks, mate. Pleasure.